All right, everyone, and welcome back to That Variety Nerd. I'm Christina, and today we are jumping into yet another tiny build slash tiny house, although it's not necessarily that tiny. It is a base game starter, once again, in The Sims 4 that we have been inspired via Amazon, and the build inspiration, as we are going to call this from now on, is linked in the description down below. Again, I am not sponsored by Amazon or any affiliated parties, so I'm just putting in that disclaimer because that's sort of the what you have to do, I think. Right. So right here, um so if you see a little bit of jumping around, that's because I had to like test play a couple of things. I had to jump to other neighborhoods. It was kind of a mess. I didn't want to do that, so there's that. So right here, I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the door, getting the shell sort of together. I wanted to include a little bit of a deck in the back to make it a little bit more realistic, and include some windows. Make sure that you have move objects on. This build is already in the gallery, so get excited about that. So, that being said, we're just trying to figure out what windows to use. Again, this is all base game, it's a starter home. So, if you have a couple of, like a sim or two that you want to include in this house, feel free to do so. Feel free to extend it, etc. And yeah, I really liked how this turned out in the end. The hard part for me was just getting all the windows and like the layout together because I wanted to make it as close as I could to the original build, which is again in the build inspiration section in the description section. So there's that. I also went ahead and went to Strangerville just to figure out how to do the little exterior stuff in terms of like how they did the fencing and the steps and the elevation and so forth. So that's why if there's a little bit of a jump, that's what happened. And then that's pretty much, I think, the only jump that I made as far as I can remember. Minus, no, I tried test playing something, but it didn't work. I was trying to also include like a big, like double bed in here, and it sort of works, but you can't really include anything else, otherwise, it can't really work. So, this house is meant for just a single sim, maybe two if you squeeze it together tightly. But ultimately, again, most of the work in this build, I think, went to the exterior more so than the interior because, again, once you start, I feel like that's definitely the hard part is just making sure that the exterior is sort of working and functioning. Whereas the interior, it's sort of like you can play around with it. There's not really a wrong way to do it. So, yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to make the elevation work, how to make the decking work, how to get this little outdoorsy sort of area to work. And that's where the jump in terms of the cutting and stuff like that, if it just cuts to dark, then that's pretty much what happened. So as you can see, this was after my trip to Strangerville, and yeah, I went to the little RV lot that they had, and I wish we had more lots like the little RV lot, just because I did not know what I was doing, to be honest, in this part. I wanted to make sure that I had a high enough elevation to make to make the fencing work. And I was getting a little frustrated, but then I'm like, what if I started out at a little bit of a different place and just trying to toy around to see what worked and what didn't work. So yeah, this is the last little part that I do in terms of the outside before we dive into the landscaping, I think. And yeah, we also include a little bit of a small little gate, and we also include some railing because you want to make sure that the little ones are safe. I think that's reasonable, and it builds some character to the house. So yeah, I wanted to keep it clean on the inside, clean on the exterior. Ow. Sorry, I hit my elbow on my coffee table just now. Or no, my end table rather. And yeah, so that's what happened just now. So right now we're just doing a little bit of landscaping, making sure that it's very just not like super nuts with the landscaping, but just enough. And again, make sure that you have move objects on, just again for my sake and your sake in your games. And yeah, so I just didn't want to go nuts with the exterior in terms of landscaping. It didn't need a whole lot because it's a small lot, but I wanted to give it some like flowers, just something to brighten it up a little bit and give it a little bit more color. And I eventually add a little bench right there as well, but I want to include a little bit of a pathway, a little bit of dirt just to make it look a little bit more lived in. And yeah, that's still another thing I'm working on getting better with is landscaping and building the exterior or the shell, because for me it's like that's sort of the hard part, at least in my experience, and especially roofing. But I think the roof turned out pretty decent on here, and I think I did it justice for what the roof called for in the end, slash what the original roof looked like, and that was what I was going with. So yeah, pretty much we're wrapping up the exterior and we're about to dive into the interior. Again, there's like one more random jump I think, but that was just for the purposes of test playing something that I eventually just did not include, which was the whole double bed fiasco. Like you can include it, but it did not make much sense. It really didn't. In the grand scheme of things, it did not. Just no. It really didn't. But yeah, right now we're just including some walls. We're just starting in the bathroom area. And I think it looks pretty decent considering just it's like a small little bathroom area. Nothing super fancy. Just wanted to make it light and bright once again. And this is the part where I was just like, what am I doing here? So I made a 4x3 bedroom. You can include, once again, a double bed, but uh, it you're better off just including a single bed or two in this one. So if you have two Sims, they would need to just have just the double bed in the bedroom, or they would probably have to get a second, uh, a second little single bed. I'm like, what is it called? I don't know what they're called. Yeah, my brain is kind of pooping right now, just to say the least. But yeah, I want to just keep it simple, keep it light and bright. The screenshots really make this house look great. And again, this is already uploaded onto the gallery. And yeah, I think it turned out really well. I was trying to just include a seating area or a little living room area somewhere. Right now, I'm working on the deck area. That bench eventually just goes right over there, like I mentioned earlier. I was going to include a second one, but I'm like, no, this isn't working. But the chairs pretty much match up with each other. I wanted to keep it again very simple, base game, all that fun stuff. The kitchen, it's not like huge, but I think it's huge for a tiny house. So, yeah, I sort of envisioned just like a very outgoing sim who's just, that they just moved out on their own. They needed a cheap place to stay, but they wanted to keep it halfway classy. And that's sort of how I was keeping it with. Someone that likes to have a lot of social events and someone that likes the outdoors quite a bit. So that was sort of the type of sim I was thinking of. So definitely one that's more outgoing and all that stuff. And yeah, so right now we're finishing up the living room. Eventually, we get rid of a desk in the bedroom. I mean, we get rid of a dresser in the bedroom to put in a desk right there just because, like, it made more sense to me because I was trying to include the desk right in here, but it was just taking up a little too much room for me and my preferences. So we just eventually, yeah, we just move the desk right in there. We include a computer, so that way it's functional and there's a purpose other than sleeping in there, which made me very happy. And again, you can like just get a laptop and use it in some of the other tables and areas outside and inside. But yeah, I think we're just about to head into the screenshots very shortly. And again, they make the house look so nice, especially the outdoor areas. And you'll see some of the really incredible views that the outside area really has. And just in terms of like, just little things here and there, like the bedroom actually looks better. Like everything looks better in the screenshots. It's pretty much what I'm saying. But right now I'm just adding a little bit of light to the outside, making sure everything looks okay in the 4 different times of the day. And yeah, we are about to head into the screenshot. So that's the exterior of the house from the front. And I don't know, I just really love how this turned out. It's very simple, minimal, and very just simple, and that's why I really like it. Again, it's a starter home. It's right on the gallery, base game only. So yeah, I hope you all really enjoyed it. And please like, subscribe, comment, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching yet another build video. I'd like to do more of these in the future. So yeah, hope you all have a nice day and bye everyone.